Hello everyone and welcome for this little development update of military operations. My name is George and I'll be talking to you about unit formations a little bit and the system we've been working on over the past few weeks. I'll start with loading a specific scenario that I prepared for this little video, and it's actually the same scenario as the one that's currently included in the benchmark itself. When you press test, you get this same scenario, which is a fictional scenario of several units in Belgium near Dinant. If you have played the playtest scenario, then you might have noticed that the unit behavior is a little strange. What usually happens if you start giving orders is that the fastest vehicles will start moving off in a direction at maximum speed, whereas the slower vehicles will have trouble keeping up with the faster ones, and the whole unit gets stretched out for a very long distance. Well, over the past few weeks we've been working on code to get them to act more as a whole instead of separate parts. And I'm going to share a little update on the development of that piece of code. It's not finished yet, but we're happy with the intermediate results. So let's have a look at what happens if we give a unit an order and it starts moving. Now this particular unit consists of several motorcycles, some with sidecar, and 2 cars. And in the playtest, what would have happened is that these motorcycles would have taken off at like maximum speed, and leaving the cars far behind them. Now we see them sticking together as a group. Now what happens is basically that every unit has a designated marching speed, which is determined by its composition. So units consisting of foot infantry will move at a much slower pace than fully motorized units. The march speed itself is much slower than the maximum speed of any individual unit, so it will be a more sedate pace than driving along the road at 50 kilometers an hour. So the first thing we did is make sure that every member of a unit stays, well, basically together. So the formation has a certain amount of slots, and each unit is assigned to a slot, and then they stay close to that slot location. Now what happens here is that one of the units gets stuck in the water near the stream. So it gets slowed down by the water terrain, basically. And what we don't want to do is the other members of the unit to keep driving along at maximum speed, or marching speed for that matter. So we want the unit as a whole to slow down in order to allow those units that fall behind to catch up. So let me accelerate time a little bit. And we can see here that the unit itself is slowed down. So these have passed the stream, have no problem whatsoever. Apparently this area is fordable. But these are still heading through water, and now they're coming out of it. And as they come out of it, you see the unit itself accelerating again, even though there's still 1 car behind. That's because the unit's velocity is dampened based on the amount of subordinates that are in formation or out of formation. And there's a certain range of percentages that determine how much and if a unit will slow down. So currently it's set at like 60%. If 60% of the unit is out of formation, then the unit as a whole will more or less come to a halt in order to allow the rest to catch up. If you look at the bigger units, like this one, you'll see the effect also works at a different hierarchy level. In this case it's a company consisting of 3 platoons and a headquarters, and this patch of forest here slows down the units but not enough to slow down the entire unit. Now here, this platoon gets slowed down because of this patch of forest, then the second one gets slowed down. So what you see is basically this shape being elongated and then stretched and then shrunk again as the members catch up. And what happens here is that we reach a small stream, and then again some of them will get stuck in the water, others might cross fairly quickly. And what we'll see is that, for example, this platoon, where most of its members have crossed already, is still waiting for enough of them to basically allow the group to move as a whole. And here they go. But you see in the white dots following that there's still some stragglers left. Now they hit a second stream and the whole formation starts to bunch up again. And then once they cross, they can go ahead. So the headquarters is already running. But now it has to wait because all the other team members are basically behind. Now they've regrouped, back together again, and the whole formation moves as one. Well, except for a few stragglers I see. They still have to catch up. Luckily for them, there's a forest patch up ahead again, so which means everybody starts slowing down and they'll be able to catch up. Now if I send this unit over there, it will essentially leave the formation, and the group will not look at its position in order to determine if it has to slow down or not. So it's more or less under my supreme command now. So you see the company, the rest of the company moving off to wherever they're going, and this platoon moving off along the routes. Now if I cancel their order like this, then they'll rejoin their group and they're going back again. And this also works for more complex units. Let me see if I can find one. For example, here, this reconnaissance company is a bit more complex in its structure because it has several platoons that consist of squads. So let's send them this way. See what happens. So initially they're forming up here to start their trek. So turning a big unit around is quite difficult under this system. So it takes time, just like everything else. Here, see what's coming over the hill. Some motorcycles, some cars. And some pieces of artillery, which are the main reason for the slow movement of the entire formation, because they can't be towed yet.